tabletop review of some more 3D printed parts from eBay. This is a different eBay seller than my previously reviewed eBay part guy, so this is a new one. Start off with all of these components. Here's one that is a demolisher missile holder that attaches to an N-Strike tactical rail. So that's the little clamp. This is just a Nerf Strife. Slides right on, and it locks into place, and then a demolisher missile can be pressure fitted into that. So my opinion on this component, it attaches well. The mount out of all of these components is probably the best here. It's the same system as the last guy. However, there is a little notch here, and this little notch can go into the little N-Strike tooth if you choose to. It's not strong enough to actually retain it well, so I'd recommend pushing it all the way to one of these little dead spots on the rail. The fit and finish is very grainy. It looks like a consumer 3D printer rather than a high quality business one, but for what you're using it for and the cost, this piece is just fine. The next accessory is a rail adapter that creates more rails essentially. It goes onto a rail like this, and then it gives you a rail on the side, top, and then other side. However, this rail is very shaky and it doesn't fit into place at all. I would not trust putting any attachments or just this own weight. It's too heavy, it slides around far too much. The variation between these pieces and how well they attach to the rail is far too wide. This piece doesn't attach very well at all, where this piece fits on just fine. This system is a little different than the previously reviewed 3D parts because these are similar parts, so it is fair to compare them, but it is quite a bit different. These have a looser fit with the intention of clicking into the N-Strike rail, the N-Strike tooth system here, but it's not strong enough to hold it in by itself. So I can't recommend this one. Whether or not this is a lemon, I have no idea because I only have one of each of these samples. The next attachment is a Mega Dart holder, which is a lower profile than the other option. I do like this one. It does slide around a little bit, but because it doesn't have to have any weight on it, that's not a big issue. So you can slide in your Mega Darts. Obviously the Strife is not a Mega gun, so this really isn't helpful, but it'll slide onto any N-Strike rail, and then you can hold some Mega Darts at the ready to quickly grab and reload. The retention of the dart is perfect. You can't really ask for anything else. It's just friction fit in there. It's tight enough to hold it, but it's not too tight to damage the dart or warp the dart. I would have no worries using this in a game, and I'd recommend this one. If, of course, you're trying to hold Mega Darts on your blaster. Pocket works for some people, but this is definitely more tactical. The next attachment is a two-parter. It's iron sights. So you can put one on the back here, and then slide one up on the front of the blaster. If you have two rails, it's helpful, or like with a retaliator attachment like this. So then it operates like an iron sight where you can look through both. Obviously with its plane change you're not going to have very accurate shots, but actually lining up your shot in a Nerf shot with a Nerf gun is not going to yield great results anyways. The retention of the front piece here fits very well, but the rear one is just not made to the same specifications. It's a lot looser and shakes around like this. If you click it into the N-Strike tooth, it will hold. It's similar retention as this, but this has a whole lot more mass. With no mass on this and it's so light, it'll stay in place. So for this piece, these pieces work just as advertised. The next one also attaches to an N-Strike rail like this. Then it has slots in the side to fit zip ties through, so you can zip tie down a flashlight or a torch up front here, or a laser pointer or anything like that. I wouldn't recommend it for a scope or a laser, something that actually is supposed to be for accuracy, because there's no ridge here, it's just a flat plane. The odds of you lining that up perfectly straight are astronomical. Even for a Nerf accessory, you still want it to be somewhat straight. But something for like a flashlight would be great, because it doesn't have to be perfectly centered, it's just trying to shoot light everywhere. And you can attach anything you want if your zip ties fit through these little slots. The retention of this piece here is pretty tight. I do like the design here. It's tight enough. I would actually mount a scope to that, and I would be confident that it wouldn't fall off. Will it be zeroed? Probably not, and once you bump it, it's going to lose its zero because it's not going to retain it perfectly well. But for our uses in Nerf, I would recommend this piece. The next piece is an N-Strike stock attachment point that you bolt onto any surface, which is a really cool concept, and I definitely enjoy this theory. So if you can't tell, these open bolt slots are for you to bolt this to a flat surface, whatever surface you want, and then you should be able to attach an N-Strike stock, like this one. I personally would definitely have confidence running the barricade stock on this, and this is the stock he actually is imaged in his eBay store. However, when I tried to use other stocks in this attachment, it simply didn't lock into place. The stock is going all the way down, but it's not actually clicking into place. Here's a retaliator stock, and the off-brand thing that's cut to certain lightning storm dimensions. The barricade stock is the only stock I personally have that actually fits. It fits the barricade stock extremely well, so I definitely like the design. I like the ability to bolt this to whatever I want and then attach a stock to it. For somebody who does homemades or weird integrations, that's a really helpful thing, to just be able to bolt a stock to the back of anything. The fact that it doesn't fit my other stocks is disappointing. I don't think that's as advertised, so I'd be disappointed in that if I personally bought this expecting it to fit my retaliator stock. I don't know why you're running retaliator stock, because it's the worst stock in the world, but you know, the other stock should work with it. So I think that's a design error. Perhaps he only drafted it to fit the barricade because maybe this was the only stock he had sitting around. Unfortunately, I can't recommend this one unless you're running a barricade stock. And the last attachment is a bolt-on rail. This is an in-strike rail which will allow you to put on in-strike attachments like this or his other attachments onto this rail, and then you can bolt this onto anything, whether it be a homemade or a random bit. If you said, oh, I really want to tack rail there, you can bolt that down into the shell and then have a tack rail there. Very cool concept. I really like this theory here to be able to just bolt a rail onto anywhere you want, and it does retain the accessories very well because this little tooth of in-strike attachments fits right into that little notch and it just locks right in. So I'm very happy with the retention there. And I would be confident mounting any type of Nerf accessory to this. So overall conclusion of this guy's 3D printed parts. Overall, I think these are still very grainy. However, the performance of these parts I think are much better than the previous guy. I'm not sure if his machine is different in how he's printing or the materials or whatever. I haven't looked really that far into their web store, but I'm more satisfied with these products. I could recommend all of the ones on here with the exception of this one. I don't see any good reason for that. The retention has to be a whole lot better, especially if you're going to be sliding a lot of accessories on and off. It has to really be tight there, and that's just perhaps a design flaw or perhaps it's just a lemon. And of course the stock attachment here, if you don't run a barricade stock, I can't really recommend this one because his picture had a barricade stock. I'm using a barricade stock here, but my other ones don't work. So if you want to use all your different stocks in your Nerf guns, I can't recommend this until perhaps the design is revised. Other than those two gripes, I'm really happy with all these other accessories. I don't personally think I'd use the iron sights of the Mega Thing because I would rather use a pocket than just staring down the bore sight. But I definitely like the ability to strap an in-strike rail onto anything, particularly for homemade builders. I know that would be very cool to be able to put little in-strike things, get people from afar to say, hey, is that a Nerf gun or is that a homemade? Because there's Nerf stuff attached to it, which would be pretty funny. So hopefully I have sufficiently reviewed these products. Again, link in the description box to the dude's eBay store. If you want any in-depth questions of his manufacturing or engineering, contact him directly. Any opinions on the products I can answer with my opinion alone, of course. That's the review of yet another eBay component seller. If you yourself manufacture Nerf parts and you want me to review them, send me an email at coop772@gmail.com and I'll see what I can do. We can work stuff out. I know I like to be up to date on current products, and I know my viewers like to see my reviews and just to be alerted of new products. So yeah, that's it. That's the review. Thanks for watching.